What's going on, gang? I want to tell you why your depression is actually a gift. You see, a long time ago, I was actually what I would call depressed. You see, I lived in the UK. The UK, if you don't know, is actually a third world country that will drain you of everything you've got. And it's like playing a game on hard mode, except you're level 1, and every time you try to get to level 2, it just smashes you down and absolutely crushes you. No exaggeration, in my opinion, it is a third world country, but that's beside the point. So I lived in the UK. I remember. I finished college. No, I went through school, I went through college, you know. You got the typical stuff like the rain's depressing, everyone seems unhappy all the time. There's really a lack of community, except with like the exception of like a good family-run gym, which you can find a lot of community there. But in general, it's a very depressing place. The wages are very low, the rent's high. Honestly, like there just isn't much growth there. There isn't. You are purposely pushed down, and it's much worse than other countries. You get people in America, and in my opinion, they do take for granted sort of the advantages they have. Um, Even high-end jobs you would call like a doctor or an engineer in the UK, it just isn't good. They don't get paid much, they get taxed heavily. It's like they get taxed a premium for worse. So it's not a good trade. Now, if you're just starting out like I was, I just finished college, the parents were like, hey, my dad found a new girlfriend, my mum was like, hey, I'm gonna go live back near my mother. So I'm in a position where it's like, hey, it's time to live on my own. Time to get a job. I had a job. It was like, yeah, time to do everything myself. But I moved out, right? And I went from, sharing a house with my dad or my mom, or like, an apartment to a house, different situations, but I had a good amount of space, a good amount of personal space. I went from that to, okay, I'm living in a house of at least 8 people. I'm renting a tiny room that can barely fit a bed. Imagine this. Okay, here's the room. It's a square. You got the bed, taken up basically two-thirds of the room, and then you got somewhere to like hang clothes on the other wall, and then you got the door, and that's it, right? There was no light. There was like a tiny window, like literally like this, right? But no light could get through there. We were in the basement. It was just like a vent for like some fresh air. And yeah, it was a shared kitchen, shared bathrooms. I was paying £550 at the time for this room. And now, if you can imagine, I just left college. I've got a minimum wage job. I'm working fucking dead end retail job here. I was coming away with 1,200, I think, at best. And it's like, okay, I'm giving 550 away here. And then, okay, you've got to feed yourself. That's not cheap. If you want to eat any good food, you want to eat chicken, meat. Well, I guess chicken's pretty cheap, but I mean, if you want to have a steak now and again, yeah, it adds up. You know, you're paying 200 for food, so that's another bit. And then you're paying your gym memberships. If you want to do anything, rock climbing, you got your jiu-jitsu memberships. And at the end of it, you're able to save 200 at best per month. 200. That's absolutely nothing. Now, how are you meant to do anything? How are you meant to upgrade? How are you meant to have a car on that wage? It's literally unlivable. Livable, but like in a third world sense, right? I feel so sorry. Like some of the people who worked there, they had like a high level math uni degree, and they're paying off their debt through. No, I don't even think he made enough to qualify to pay the debt, right? He had this great degree that he went in debt for, and he can't even make the minimum like amount of money to start paying that debt off. That's crazy. Some of the people there, like GG, living with the parents like 30, like yeah, it's over, mate. But you can see how this situation was like you're living in a packed house, you have no light, you're in a dark, dingy bedroom, and like you're meant to upgrade from here. You're meant to start a business from like your fucking cave. You're meant to be in good mental health. Remember, it's raining every day. You can't really go outside. You know, we live in the UK here. Like, how do you not lose your mind? And then COVID hit. I still had to work. And it was during winter. Like, I didn't have a car. Couldn't afford one. I was taking my bike. I was cycling to work in the snow, in the rain. I was getting soaked. You can imagine how high my depression was. I was like borderline, like, damn, do I want to continue? So this is the situation. This is for you to get an idea of where I'm at. So, why am I saying that depression is a blessing? Well, one thing that depression did to me was it broke my mind. Like, it fucking restructured some shit up here, mate. I cracked a bit. I went a little bit crazy, a little bit insane. And it's like, fuck it, I'll take any gamble now. I literally took any gamble. Like, I remember thinking, like, I've got some money in the bank. I put it all in crypto, and I'm like, hey, if I lose this, fuck it, I'll just finish myself off. But I mean, I lost it, I didn't, made it back, and then, hey, we fucking went from there. We flew to Thailand. But listen, in reality, it was a blessing because I had so much of this negative energy that, listen, you get pushed down, you push this like negative energy meter down. If it goes down enough, two things are gonna happen. You're gonna break, and you breaking is gonna like finish you. You're gonna go from this state of like, hey, I'm barely hanging on, you know. I'm in like autopilot every day at work. You know, I'm suffering. Like I don't even feel human. I feel less than human at this point. And it's like, okay, you can continue that, or you can break. And like I feel like two things could have happened there. Either one, I just completely given up, and like I just take myself out. Or the second option is you're like, damn, I need to fucking do something here, right? You're like, okay, it's time to make a change. And you're willing to make any gamble at that point. You're willing to change your mind, like everything in here, like you rewire your brain almost. But it takes a lot. And then what happens is this negative energy, like it's like slingshot. It keeps fucking pounding here, right? It's like yeah, I'm good some days, and then it goes fucking horrible again, and then it goes up again, and it fucking smashes this. This is like a steel beam, but eventually it keeps fucking pushing, right? You're like, oh, I'm doing these little habits. I'm replacing my bad habits with good habits. All this shit. And then you make the choice. You make a big choice. You make a choice to change. You start putting your willpower into it, and it just keeps fucking driving. And it goes up a little bit, and then it fucking cracks, and you go poosh, like a fucking XRP, green beam of profit into the positive energy sphere. What happens now? What happens is you've been given your life back. You've become human again, is what happens at that point. You go from, hey, I was about to kill myself, to, damn, I'm going to make this work. You go from, hey, each day I felt like a zombie. I didn't even feel human. I wasn't there. I was like living in like depression and anxiety and like just numb, like, and it's like, nah, mate, nah, we gotta wake the fuck up. I don't want to live like these people. Going to your like little 9 to 5 for your entire life, being a fucking worthless little slave. I would rather kill myself than do that. And I'm being real here. I would rather be homeless than ever work a 9 to 5 job again. Now, when I say that, do I mean that, like, hey, I gotta work at Starbucks one day, am I gonna kill them? No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is, if I give up on my dream and I go back to that reality, if I stop what I want to do and I'm like, okay, you win, universe, I'm gonna go get a trade job, I'm gonna be so unhappy. I would rather finish myself off than put absolutely everything into a dream, into my own business, into building myself. Because I know in my heart that reality is not for me, and it will break me. And if I pretend to live like someone else who I don't respect, who I don't give a fuck about, if I take the traditional path, I know only destruction awaits for me. Whether I try my hardest to be like, okay, I'm going to become a doctor. I don't know, that's just a random job I just picked out. I'm like, okay, I decided today I'm going to become a doctor. I'm going to do everything I can to become a doctor, mate. I would finish myself off within 10 years. That is not for me. I know it's not for me. Now, what happens? I was a broken human being at this point, like, in every regard except for the gym, jiu-jitsu. That, if I didn't have jiu-jitsu, damn, I cannot imagine how down bad I would be. I would literally be like a level, an age 30 incel who's a stick because I don't have any muscle or like skills. Oh god, jiu-jitsu did save me in one aspect. But hey, I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you. I don't recommend getting pushed down here, because that's a lot of negative energy. I don't think a lot of people can hack this. If you get pushed that far down, I'm just saying, the suicide rate is high, especially for men. Or you become a zombie, and you just accept your zombie state. But if you have like any sort of consciousness, if your pineal gland is decalcified, that's not for you, man. That's not for you. You gotta fucking slingshot that shit up to the positive realities of what life could be. And the thing is, once you do that slingshot, it might take some time for you to get going, to build up the momentum, but by the time you hit the middle point and you're going up here, listen, good things in life start to happen. Life starts to give you what you want because you are willing to reach out and say, hey, I'm willing to take the risk. I'm willing to work. I'm willing to do what needs to be done. You know? I'm willing to be different. I'm willing to be ostracized. You know, I'm willing to suffer. And not suffer as in, hey, I'm stagnant in life. Hey, this is not where I want to be, but really suffer as in I'm willing to sacrifice everything to get where I want to be. The difference is like one, for example, is pushing in the gym, doing your weights, pushing to your limit. That's an example of the good pain. And you're not really suffering. You might suffer in the moment, but suffering is a choice in the moment, you know? So, like, while you're feeling that pain, you can just choose to love it. You can choose to fall in love with that type of pain. But the pain down here is something that you should learn to despise. You should run away from that suffering. You know, the suffering of being a zombie at work, of being disrespected, of being treated like less than human. That is a suffering that you should run far away from, and you should do what you've got to do to get out of that, honestly. That's not somewhere you should be. Get that fucking slingshot, baby. Slingshot! Okay, so yeah, in reality, the more pain you suffer down here, the higher you can go. But you don't need the pain, that's what I'm saying. You can just go from middle, go up. There's no love without hate, or hate without love, or you don't know you like it if you don't know what you dislike. No, it's the opposites, you know, opposites. You gotta feel everything. Peace.